I'm sorry.
When will I know I'm ready?
You won't. It's a leap of faith. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Woo! Alright. Welcome back to Brecky Cosplay, and this time we are not going to be reviewing something, but I'm going to talk about my first impressions of this suit. This is the Across the Spider-Verse Peter B. Parker suit, or Peter Parker suit in general. They wear the same thing in Into the Spider-Verse. Patterned by Arachnid Studios. This is printed, sewn and sold by Print Costume. Same spiel, this is going to be completely unscripted, unlike my usual content. And so, how this one's going to be approached is how I'm just going to be talking about my first impression of this. I've worn this now twice now. Good processing time this time. It only took about less than 3 weeks for it to be sent out, and like 3 days for it to get sent here. So I think that was probably the best I've seen Print Costume ever be when it concerns suits. And this time I ordered 2 suits. Other one I don't really plan on reviewing anytime soon. Yeah, so I just want to talk about my impressions, and within however many longs, I'm going to try to wear it out a little bit to like public places and see how it holds up, because I don't want to just tell you how I feel after twice of wearing it. Meanwhile, the other 2 suits had to be ran through before I even attempted to review those and give you a long-term score. I just want to give you like, hey, here's how it feels when you first get it type of thing. Comparing these to my other 2 suits, this one, the sewing, when we're talking about the sewing, I think the sewing, they brought it back up with the sewing, because if you remember my last review, I did complain about the scaling, the sizing for it, because last time they made it a little bit too tight on me. And while this time, there are some points where I feel like it might be a little bit too tight, but I honestly think that's because of the back spider, how it's glued on back there. And so, but I do feel like overall it does feel a lot better than the Insomniac Classic suit did. When it comes to the actual fabric this time, I don't know why. I don't know. But the cloth is noticeably thicker than the other 2, so I'm going to be really interested in actually wearing this outside and seeing how much of a heat and cold difference does that make. Because if you remember the other 2 suits, I said like if it heats up, it'll get really hot. If it's cold, it'll get really cold. So I'm wondering if the thickness of this suit is going to make a huge difference of how much heat it retains and how much cold is let through. So I'm really interested in tackling that down. The puff painting, I think they knocked it completely out of the park this time. I think this is probably the best job they've ever done puff painting. Honestly, you can barely tell that this was even puff painted. It honestly just looks like just normal webbing that would be a part of the suit. And I have no complaints about it. And like same thing with the screen print emblems. They're always been pretty consistent about the screen print emblems. Print Costume's always been pretty on point with that. Like I said, the only real concern I have right now is with the back one, because it does feel a little bit more restrictive compared to the other 2. So I'm really hoping that is like I can just break it in without actually damaging the suit itself. Because I did notice that, like, if I'm trying to put on the suit, for instance, like I cannot reach over here as easily without feeling it get more tense back here. Because I noticed this part noticeably pulling whenever I'm pulling this arm over. And, like, same thing with this arm. So it's like, so I'm hoping that, and it's definitely because of the screen print emblem back here. So I'm really hoping that it's whatever happens, it isn't going to get damaged up. And the consistent thing I've always been saying about Print Costume, about their coloring, is, and I think a lot of this does come down to whatever patterns are used, but I think this time, when it comes to the blue and red on this suit, completely perfect. I have honestly no complaints. I have maybe a nitpick, if anything, is like, if a nitpick I have is like maybe the textured Z's that are on the red aren't as noticeable on the red fabric as they are on the blue fabric. But that's such a nitpick, because they're still there. They're still noticeable, because on the Insomniac suit, the texture on them isn't noticeable. It isn't really there, so it clashes with the texture on the blue where it is busy, with the texture on the red where it really minimal if it's even there at all. But these do blend together very well enough. And something like, I'm usually not too much of a fan of muscle shading on my suits. I give a lot of leeway to like more cartoon or comic looking suits. Honestly, on this one, it blends in. It really blends in, and it makes it look a lot more natural than it would have done on just like if you just would have done it on white fabric. I think the color fabric does really help it in this case, where it makes it really blend in a lot better than it really should. Because I was looking at the pattern pictures, and I was looking and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But then I saw another version with no muscle shadings, and I was like, well, that kind of takes away the fun of it being a cartoon. I was hoping that the colored fabric would blend it in better, and honestly, again, it's one of those things that just came out super perfect. So far, out of twice of wearing this suit, the first time when I initially unboxed it, and now, is that I am just completely in love with this suit. I do have the mask. I don't have a proper face shell for it yet, so I'm not ready to reveal that just yet. Right now, I'm just kind of using my TASM 2 ones for now. When it comes to the mask, it's good. It's the same thing as the suit. Same thing. It's just the red fabric, red puff paint. Oh yeah, this time around, I did not get a neck zip like I did on the last one. So I just kind of just pushed my hand through. That was fine. I didn't really feel too much resistance where I felt like I was going to break the suit. I will watch out for the ankle zips. That seems to be one of those consistent things from print costumes where it seems to be a problem. But I already have one major issue with the wrist zip. Now, never mind that it's going to be red clashing on blue. I can deal with that. I would have preferred blue on the red, but whatever. I can deal with that, right? But on this one, I've only worn it twice. So I've had to unzip it once when I first got it, zip it up when I first put it on, zip it back down when I'm getting out of it, and then zip it one more time back up for this time, right? This one got stuck. On my right arm, this zipper got stuck on the bottom. It had to take 2 people to get this zipper up. That is a huge problem. And now I have to like keep in mind, just like on the Andrew Garfield costume, that I can't zip it all the way down, otherwise I'm going to risk it getting stuck. And I don't know what, like I don't know why I'm having that problem so soon. Like, it's not even that like I used it wrong, because this one was fine. This one was fine. So I don't understand what happened with that. Anyways, so that was my first impressions on the suit right here. You'll be seeing B-roll as you're going through this. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe for the next face shell review that's going to be coming up. That is going to be Make sure you subscribe for this face shell review coming up. It'll come up sometime whenever it comes up. That'll do it for that one. Hope you all have a beautiful day. Subscribe for that face shell review and the eventual suit review of this one. And I have some more content planned up in the future, but that'll come up whenever it comes up. And I will see you guys later.